The old mailbox creaked as it slowly opened. Inside it was a single white envelope. Nothing special about it, no colorful stamps, no bright markings. Just a plain letter, but the moment the poor mother read the first line, her hands began to shake. Her eyes filled with tears, and within seconds she was crying so hard she had to sit down on the porch steps. This wasn't the kind of letter she expected, and it was about to change her life forever. Before we dive into this powerful story, take a moment to support the channel. If you enjoy stories about kindness and humanity, please subscribe, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your support helps our community grow. Welcome to Kindness Story Hub, where every story reminds us that even the smallest act of kindness can change a life. Now, let's begin the story. On the edge of a small town in Ohio lived a woman named Maria Thompson. She was a single mother raising her 8-year-old son, Daniel. Life had never been easy for Maria, but the past 2 years had been especially hard. After her husband passed away from a sudden illness, Maria had to do everything on her own. She worked long hours cleaning offices at night and spent her days doing small odd jobs whenever she could find them. Despite all that effort, money was always tight. Their small apartment was modest. The furniture was old, and sometimes the refrigerator was nearly empty by the end of the week. But Maria always tried her best to make Daniel feel loved and safe. Every night before bed, she would tell him stories. Sometimes they were stories about brave heroes. Sometimes about magical places where kindness always won, but deep down, Maria often worried about the future. One cold autumn afternoon, Maria was walking home after picking Daniel up from school. The wind was sharp, and the sky was gray. Daniel held her hand tightly as they passed the rows of small houses on their street. "Mom," Daniel said quietly, "when I grow up, I'm going to buy you a big house." Maria smiled softly. "A big house?" she asked. "Yeah," he said. "With a warm kitchen, and you won't have to work so much anymore." Maria squeezed his hand, trying not to let him see the sadness in her eyes. "That sounds wonderful," she replied, but inside, she wondered if things would ever truly get better. A few days later, Maria returned home from a long shift cleaning an office building. Her back ached, and she felt exhausted. As she walked toward her apartment, she noticed something sticking out of the mailbox. A letter that was unusual. Most of the mail she received was bills or advertisements. But this envelope looked different. It had her name written neatly on the front. She frowned slightly. "Who could be writing to me?" she whispered. Maria carried the letter upstairs and sat down on the porch steps before opening it. Daniel was inside finishing his homework. Carefully, Maria opened the envelope. Inside was a single sheet of paper. She began to read. The first line said, "Dear Mrs. Thompson, you may not remember me." Maria paused. Her heart started beating faster. She kept reading. "My name is Andrew Collins. 15 years ago, when I was a teenager, you helped me during the worst day of my life." Maria blinked in confusion. Andrew Collins, the name sounded faintly familiar. She continued reading. "I was 16 years old when my family lost our home. I remember sitting outside the grocery store, cold and hungry. People walked past me all day, but no one stopped." Maria's eyes widened slightly. A memory began to return. "You were the only person who asked if I was okay. You bought me a sandwich, gave me a warm jacket, and told me something I never forgot." Maria's hands started trembling. "You said, life can be cruel sometimes, but kindness always finds its way back." At that moment, tears began to form in Maria's eyes. She remembered. 15 years ago, she had seen a teenage boy sitting alone outside a store. He looked tired, scared, and hungry. Maria didn't have much money even back then. But something in her heart told her to help. So she bought him food and gave him her husband's spare jacket. She never expected anything in return, and she never saw the boy again. But now she continued reading. "That small act of kindness changed my life. You gave me hope when I had none. I promised myself that if I ever succeeded, I would find you and thank you." Maria's tears rolled down her cheeks. The letter continued, "Today, I run a small technology company in Chicago. It took years of hard work, but I finally kept my promise to myself." Maria's heart pounded. "Last month, I visited the same grocery store where we met. The owner remembered you and told me where you live." Maria covered her mouth with her hand. The final part of the letter read, "I can never repay what you did for me, but I want to try. Enclosed is something small to help you and your son. Please accept it as a thank you for the kindness that saved my life." Maria quickly looked back inside the envelope. There was another paper. A check. Her eyes widened in disbelief. It was $4.50,000. Her legs felt weak. That was the moment she began crying uncontrollably on the porch steps, not because of the money, but because of the realization that one small act of kindness, something she had almost forgotten, had meant everything to someone else. Daniel soon opened the front door and saw his mother sitting outside crying. "Mom?" he asked worriedly. Maria quickly wiped her tears. "It's okay, sweetie," she said. Softly, Daniel sat beside her. "What happened?" Maria handed him the letter. As Daniel slowly read the words, his eyes grew wide. "Mom, you helped him?" Maria nodded. "I didn't think it was anything special," she whispered. Daniel smiled. "I think it was." Maria looked at her son and hugged him tightly. For the first time in years, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time, hope. Over the next few months, Maria's life slowly began to change. She used part of the money to move into a small but comfortable home. Nothing fancy, just a place where Daniel had his own room and the kitchen always had food. She also started taking classes to train for a better job, but the most beautiful part of the story came later. One spring afternoon, Maria received another letter. This time, it wasn't from Andrew. It was from a woman in town. The letter said, "Dear Maria, my neighbor told me how you once helped a homeless teenager many years ago. Your story inspired me to volunteer at our local shelter. I just wanted to say thank you for reminding me how powerful kindness can be." Maria smiled as she finished reading. Kindness, she realized, doesn't just travel in one direction. It spreads. One person helps another, and that person helps someone else, and soon the world becomes a little brighter. Sometimes we think small acts don't matter: buying someone a meal, offering a warm jacket, stopping to ask, "Are you okay?" But as Maria's story shows, even the smallest moment of kindness can echo through someone's life for years. You never know who might remember your kindness long after you've forgotten it. You never know whose life you might change. And maybe, just maybe, kindness has a way of finding its way back when we need it most. If this story touched your heart, remember to share kindness wherever you go. Because one small act today could become someone's miracle tomorrow. And here at Kindness Story Hub, we believe every act of kindness has the power to change the world.